Do I need climate control storage or non-climate control storage? That's a great question, and it depends on a couple things. What are you storing? Number two, what is your level of comfort? Some folks, they just want somewhere to put some stuff, and if there's a little bit of weathering on the property, it's not a big deal to them. Other people, that's a big deal. So you know your personality, know what your comfort level is. If you're very picky about your stuff and a little bit of weatherization happens to your property and you know that's going to upset you, don't rent non-climate. It's just not worth the risk. On the other hand, if you've got some things that you're not so concerned that there may be a little weatherization over a year or two of storage, go ahead and rent non-climate. It's cheaper, it's easy to get into, and it's much more abundant. So what are the differences between climate control storage and non-climate control storage? A climate control storage unit has an air conditioning system or an HVAC system that monitors the temperature. Typically these units are going to run between 60 to 80 degrees depending on the time of the year. And the big important thing about an HVAC system is it will pull the moisture out of the air. Moisture is the big getter. What happens is if there's moisture in the air, which happens when temperatures are rising and falling, the humidity will get on your property and it can cause a little bit of mildew, a little bit of musk, and it gets that weatherization you see on property. So, what are some things I would store in a non-climate control storage? Bicycles, kids' toys, old videos, things that I'm not overly concerned that there may be some change in temperature. So just keep in mind, when it's 30 degrees outside, it's 30 degrees inside your non-climate control storage. If it's 100 degrees outside, then it's 100 degrees inside. So keep that in mind. What are you storing? That depends greatly on whether a non-climate control storage or a climate control storage unit is going to work for you. What are some of the greater risks for renting non-climate control storage versus climate control storage? Well, in a climate control storage, since you get that HVAC system pulling the moisture out of the unit, you tend to have less risk of mildew or mold. Now, a lot of whether or not you get mildew or mold is going to depend on you. Are you going to put a nasty mattress that's been slept on by some kid for the last year and a half that hasn't been sanitized before it's been put in a storage unit? Couple that with maybe you moved in on a day when it was raining. So you've got a wet mattress. It's got already bacteria on it, mold spores that you can't see, and then you put it in a dark environment where it's going to be cool some days, warm other days. You've got a recipe for coming back in 2 to 3 months and having mildew on your goods. That's not a good idea. So here's some steps you can take to prevent mildew and mold. Sanitize your contents before you move in. When you move in, make sure they're dry. 3, check on your contents. Don't just stick them in a storage unit, leave them for 3 months, and come back and say, oh my goodness, they don't look as good as when I moved in. Check on them every 2, 3, 4 weeks. See how things are going. If something's wrong, you can remediate the problem a lot better in 2 weeks than 3 months.